Well, hey guys, I wanted to take a moment to be able to share with you a little bit of my story of how I'm juggling some very important parts of my life. My family, I got 4 kids, my beautiful wife. I've also got a non-profit career that I absolutely love. And then I'm trying to build a bit of side income to be able to help those other areas of my life, and how I've found this whole experience over the last few years of doing all this at once, because I feel like there's some very loud voices out on the internet that talk about this kind of hustle culture where you're working so hard to build this side business, and then eventually it's gonna become your full-time thing and you can quit your job, and all of that's cool if that's your goals, but I don't hear a lot about how you can have an awesome family life while also pursuing some of these other goals as well. And to be honest, to me, money is not my focus at all. And my family means so much to me, and what I do in my career, which I work for a church, we're a non-profit, and I absolutely love it. It's my dream job, and I have a big long-term vision there. And obviously, we just need money to be able to live and to help support that, and to give us a better quality of life. So I don't want this pursuit of some side income or building a business online to sacrifice the things which matter most to me. And maybe you can relate to that as well. And if you do, put something in the comments. Tell me about your situation. I'd love to hear your story. But for me and my family over the last few years, you know, I have 4 boys, and we had 4 boys in the space of about 3 years. We had twins in the middle. And I was just getting my business kind of up and running towards the birth of the last child. And so I've had 4 kids as I've built what has become a reasonably successful side income, bringing in a few $1,000s a month to be able to help my family. And that has been done whilst juggling my family. And I never ever wanted to allow this side income to distract me from these things which matter more to me. At the beginning, I was looking at some different business models, and I had actually started a few different business models and ended up giving them up because I just saw this is going to be too time intensive. This is not going to fit with my family. This is not going to fit with my church. And so I had to kind of start again, and I eventually found that there were business models that could support those things rather than take away from those things. And absolutely, whatever you do, it's going to require work, and it's going to require some sacrifice. So I don't want to act like it's not going to have any impact on your family, because it certainly has had some impact on my family. But I'd say the biggest sacrifice is I just have to do some work, and I can actually find time where maybe I wouldn't normally be with my kids anyway, maybe when they're in bed, and when I'm not working in my job, in my business hours, I can redeem those times that are pretty much being wasted, or they're idle, and I can build something that's going to be a blessing to my family and to my non-profit work, what I love to do. So I really believe that this is possible, and my big goal is to ultimately make enough money where my wife would not have to work a job, and she could if she wanted to, but she basically would be in a financial position where she could do whatever she liked, whether that's working or working part-time or not working at all. And so that's my ultimate goal. I am a long way from that goal. But already what I've learned over these last few years is that it's totally possible to build a great sustainable side income if you do it right. And I think there's a lot of ways that we can do it wrong, and I've certainly explored some of them. And some of my experience is that if you're looking to build something that is not gonna just absolutely kill your time, you need to build in such a way as to focus on 2 key areas. And that would be leverage and also systems. So if this is already getting boring, stay with me here, because this is going to really help you. But I think if you build leverage and if you build systems, then you're not going to have to keep doing the same things over and over again. And even if you want to grow a bigger business, or you want to increase the size of your income, it's not necessarily going to be at the cost of more of your time. Okay, I first started looking at a leather jacket business online, and I was gonna have products made in another country and send them directly to customers, and they'd get a nice custom-made leather jacket. And I just realized that as that business grew, I was gonna get more and more problems with customer service and returns and things like this. And I'm like, this is not really scalable, because I only have a certain number of hours in my day that are available. I don't want to give all my time to this. I still want to put the priority of my time to working for my nonprofit, and also to spending time with my wife and my kids. So if you've got a small margin of time, you have to choose the right business model. So I let that go, and I started looking at things that are more online, because I felt like it was more sustainable and it was more scalable. And so let me explain a few different types of leverage that have really helped me to understand what kind of business I need to build. There's 4 types of leverage. The first one is, I wrote this down, collaboration. The second one is capital. The third one is code. And the fourth one is content. Let me break it down for you. So collaboration is people. If you can employ others, then obviously they can do work for you. And that's one way to expand your business, where it's not just built off your time. You need to work through other people, and there are ways to do that. You can hire virtual assistants. You can hire someone maybe locally, but that's a great option in how you can expand without using more time. Another way is through capital, and that is your money. You can pay people to do things. You can outsource, and once you've got some money, you can use that to then do business tasks that create more money for you. So that is another way that you can scale up without having to use more time. Another one is code. So that's software. You can build software that works for you while you sleep. And that is a big focus of what I have been doing. And the last one is content, which is media. Like, this is media right now, and you can be watching this while I'm asleep. And so any kind of content that things we write, we speak, we film, these kind of things can sit online and can generate something for you, whether that's followers or some kind of income or whatever. So these 4 types of leverage, if we focus on building a business with leverage, then we can keep scaling that, and it won't necessarily take more of our time. I have a friend of mine who right now, he's got an awesome business. He absolutely loves his business, but he's a craftsman, and the challenge with the craftsman industry is you have to make everything. And so if you get more orders, you now have to make more things. So the way that you scale is through collaboration, right? You have to hire more people to make those things. So that's one of the challenges of that business model, is the way to scale is through people. So what I love about the online business is that you can actually scale in other ways. You don't necessarily have to hire more people and get a big team. And I think that's really exciting. And so for me, I started looking into SEO. I started looking into how I could help generate leads for businesses. And these types of things can be working as I slept. And so for me, I remember as my first child was being born, I was literally in the hospital, and I wasn't allowed to go in outside of visiting hours. So my little boy Jakey had been born, and I'm kind of killing time in the hospital cafe, and I started building my first website that was going to help me to generate leads. It was going to rank online, generate leads, and I was going to sell those to a small business. And that website is still making money for me. I don't know. Well, my son is 4 years old. So 4 years later, I'm still charging a client for the leads that come through that website. And I haven't touched that website for over 3 years. That's leverage. That's called code leverage, because I've made some software, I've put it online, and it's working for me. That website is software, and it's working as I sleep. People are finding it, they're booking in for business, and then I've got a client who is paying me for those customers. That kind of thing, if we spend our time building assets like that, it can work for us so that we don't have to, and then we can be having time to spend our time with our kids or with our spouses, or doing what we love, in my case, working for my church. And so leverage is one way to do it, and you're gonna need to look for business models that you can leverage. We'll talk definitely more about this in other videos. And by the way, those 4 C's of leverage, that's from Alex Hormozi, and he's also kind of simplifying it from, I think it's unveil. I read it in some of his content before, so I didn't make up those 4 C's, by the way. Now, the other thing that we could build, I talked about leverage, but the other thing we need to build is systems. So systems are just repeated ways of doing things, so that each time you do it, maybe the first time you build the system, it takes you a long time to get it up and running. But the next time that you run it, it's fast because the system's already been built. And so for me, at the end of every month, I have this laborious task of calculating all the different leads that I've sent to my clients. And so what I did was I used ChatGPT to help me build some software, and I put that code into my Google Sheets, and with the press of a button, it will automatically formulate all the information that I put into it. And so I've got this beautiful report that took me, it saved me hours just because I had some code, I had a system. So systems can also give us time back. If we spend our time building systems, then basically I'm saving tomorrow's time. Yes, today it takes up my time, but tomorrow I'm free. And so in the early days of my business, as I had those young boys in my family, I was spending time trying to build systems and trying to build leverage. And I'll tell you right now, today I earn the most that I've earned over these last 3-4 years, but I also work the least that I have worked in this season, because it was upfront work building the systems, and now I'm relying off that system repeating itself, and also leverage. And that is how I see myself scaling towards a level of side income where my wife can do whatever she wants, to be able to replace her income, essentially. Because if I'm looking at my life and I'm thinking, wow, in order to get to that level, in order to achieve that dream of being able to replace my wife's income, then I have to work way harder. If it honestly comes to that, there's a point where I'm just not willing to give up my time with my wife and with my kids, and to hurt what I'm doing in my nonprofit work. I'm not prepared to do that. There is a limit, and of course I understand I've got to give up some of my family time to do that, and I can't sacrifice my job. That's the priority. But there's a limit to that. And if I'm looking to hopefully scale my business, like 5 to 10 times what it currently is, I can't put in 5 to 10 times the work. I have to build in such a way where I can scale it through leverage and also through systems. And guys, the reason I'm making these videos is because I really believe that it's possible. I don't believe that it's easy, but I've seen enough. I was a beginner 3 or 4 years ago. I'm still a beginner in many ways, but I've learned enough, and I have enough confidence that I feel like yeah, it's a big jump to maybe 5x or 10x what I'm currently making, but I actually see that it would be possible. And so I want to encourage you out there. I believe it is possible, and it's definitely possible to make a few $1,000s a month that could be a blessing to your family, and to maybe take some of the edge off the pressure of the bills that you have in your life. But I'm talking about, even at a much higher level, I believe it is possible if we have a focus on building leverage and building systems. So that has been my focus over the last few years, and I'm now at a point where I actually have the most time. I spend more time billing my clients at this point than I'm actually spending on time doing actually the work. And we're getting them great results. I'm not saying that we're not ripping them off. We're getting them great results, except I've built systems and I've got leverage where I can fulfill at a high level and also not be using a lot of my time. So I'm rambling a little bit. I hope you've been encouraged. I hope this does speak to you, that you can actually have a check in every column: the family column, our romantic relationship with our spouse, our time with our kids, and then also maybe you work at a non-profit and the income is capped on that, but you're absolutely doing what you love. You don't want to quit that, but you're also looking to make some side income. I actually believe we can really excel in all three. It's not easy, but it's totally doable. And why don't you come along on this journey with me? Tell me about your story. I'd love to know in the comments. Subscribe, give us a like on the video. I'd appreciate that so much. But we're going to keep diving into this type of topic over the next few videos, and how just sharing a little bit more of my story and how I'm doing that, where I'm going. And I'd love to also hear from you guys as well. So I'll catch you in the next video.